Yeah, the suspension. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. And I don't know if I said it before or whatnot, so I know I said it to other people, but for sure that suspension basically it basically ruined the rest of my career, any kind of comeback. I'm not a cheater. They even know, the people who suspended me knows I'm not a cheater. But the way the rules are, and they were, or they still are, it just showed how unprofessional, the lack of accountability we all have. I mean, I made a mistake by not submitting paperwork. They made a mistake by not letting us know. Like, it was a lot of things that happened to where I felt like it definitely cut the rest of my career short, because the way I felt I was going into 2015, the way I was riding the end of 2014 and kind of getting up, like, there was no way, like, I feel like it was going to be the old 2007, 2009, at least win 10 races that year. I had my program, had my bike set up, and I had a lot of confidence coming off of, like, the year. Even though I didn't win the championships, I proved a lot to myself. It sucks because, you get, once you get down to the details, and once you kind of get more into it, you realize that it was more politics, and there was definitely hidden agendas that happened behind it. Like, I don't understand, like, if you try to appeal something or say, well, I'm not that way, how can you get mad at me and say you're going to add more months on if I try to say that I'm innocent? And that's what I dealt with. They didn't want to keep it at 16 months. They wanted to go to 24 or something like that, because I was going to appeal what they had, their answer. And knowing now, you spend all this money that it didn't matter. It was just a waste of time. I was going to get suspended the whole time. And it's definitely unfortunate, and it's a bummer because, obviously with Broc Tickle and what he's going through, I don't know if anything's changed, but I mean, the dude's career's done. He's done. And it could have been something that he ate. Who knows? But my career was ruined in a sense of, because I didn't fill out paperwork, and same stuff that I was suspended for, I was allowed to use it too. So that doesn't make sense, but rules are rules. And at the end of the day, the only person that's at fault is me. I'm the one who didn't do it. I should have read up more on it. It's just bummed me out because, again, I know how I was riding, and I know the story. I know what I wasn't doing. They know what I wasn't doing, and it didn't matter. And here we're in 2019, and the rest is history. But for sure, it was a bummer, and I think it cost a lot of people, including myself, more chances to see me race, and win. I definitely wouldn't be sitting at 50 wins right now. It'd be more than that. So, as a just a straight racing standpoint, the suspension was definitely tough because at that time there was really nothing else on my mind except for racing. And again, I didn't really figure out. I was suspended and literally up until a couple weeks before Anaheim. I was so I trained. I did all the work. The team, we ordered parts because at that time we didn't know that we wasn't going to race, so we didn't have an answer at that point. So we led all the way up until a couple weeks before Anaheim to find out we wasn't. So it was a bummer on the racing standpoint. But then being suspended is the best thing that's ever happened to me, honestly, far as my personal life, because I wouldn't be a father if I wouldn't have gotten suspended. My company 7 wouldn't be where it is if I didn't get suspended. I wouldn't be knowledgeable about a lot of other things if I didn't get suspended. So, as a racer, yeah, it definitely sucks. But I mean, when one door closes, like for me, honestly, like it was like 5 that opened. And I think it allowed me to kind of be humiliated in a sense, be humble, and also be comfortable, and it brought me closer to the industry, like the people around, like, you know, the inner circle. I think a lot of people, even if you wasn't a fan of mine, and, you know, I had some of the guys that, like, I thought hated me, you know, from managers to riders. It almost brought us all together because they knew it wasn't right. You know, they knew I wasn't a cheater, and honestly, I think it was eye-opening for maybe the next guy not to get suspended. You know, once they saw what they did to me, there's a lot of things that was actually a positive that ended up happening, but mainly, you know, being a father, that definitely wouldn't happen in my company. So, you know, you go back, you look at it as hindsight. I rather get suspended if I ended up like this, because, you know, to have my son, like, it's way more important than anything I've ever done. Like, that's the most important thing that I've done in my life is my kids. Yeah, 2016, after my suspension, coming in Anaheim 1, there was a lot of things that, you know, like I wanted to do. Like, the off season wasn't that good because I kept getting hurt. I got hurt in Paris. Then I got hurt at my house. And then we changed suspension stuff, and I was struggling with those forks. That's when the air fork, all that stuff kind of came out. And I was really struggling with it. But nonetheless, like, you know, I came to Anaheim and was actually excited to be back racing again, because at that time I found out I was going to be a father. So I kind of already knew that was in the works. So I was happy about that. And then, you know, being suspended, like, again, it kind of changed my outlook on just life and finding other things. So me personally, I was just more happier going into off the bike and just really trying to enjoy it. We show up at Anaheim, again, super excited. And I think I ended up qualifying like third. The heat race was such and such. It was whatever. But the second lap of the main event, I ended up getting taken out by Dungey. I mean, everybody knows what happened. I got knocked out. But when he hit me and I got knocked out, like, that was it. Like, I didn't realize it then, but, like, that was, I guess, the end of me being James Stewart, in a sense. Like, the time it took me to, like, recover, and I don't know if it was a part of, you know, the concussion one was bad enough. It was probably my worst one that I ever had. But, like, it took me longer to regroup. You know, it was a couple weeks later, like, I still wasn't right. I missed, like, the next race, and I tried racing or practicing at San Diego. It still wasn't right. I was running, you know, third or fourth at Oakland, had to pull off the track. I was getting dizzy, and, you know, I don't know if, you know, you creep in your mind, like, look, I'm going to be a father or whatever it was. But for sure, I think between the struggling with the bike so much, not feeling completely healthy upstairs, even though you passed test and all that, you knew you was 100% there. But I just think the weight, and I was so looking forward to coming in racing. I just got suspended for a year, and then to have that happen, it was kind of a knockdown. So now looking back at it, like, it's just, you don't realize, like, a certain moment of when Ryan hit me, like that was going to be it. But, you know, honestly, Ryan probably did me some favors. Now I'm thinking about it, because I was going to crash a lot with that, the way our setup was, and as much as we struggling. And now I know I'm not crazy. There was more people besides me, comes out later, that we were all struggling on it. But again, I think I would have been back in that 2005 situation with the two-stroke, trying to override something that I knew in my head wasn't right. But there was so much pressure of me being out there, just got suspended. I got to get back on that 2014 level. All that would have came into play, and So Ryan probably actually did me a favor, honestly. It's hard to talk when you're not 100% sure with everything. And my whole life, it's always been, let me think about what I'm gonna say, and let me think about it again, and let me think about it again before I say it, because no matter what it is, like, I gotta be comfortable with the way people are gonna take it and twist it. And I think with this situation, like, I never planned on going like this long without like talking, but honestly, like, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, a part of me still wanted to race, and I tried. Like, I was trying to, do my own team, and I wanted to race the way I wanted to. I was tired of dealing with the democracy of what you would call the sport, and having to be and look and do certain things. Like, my whole life I've always been different, and when I had a chance to start 7, I started because, like, I was tired of the everyday, like, the way companies go about, like, doing stuff. Like, this, I feel like if you're gonna do something, put the effort into doing it, not take a dollar. And same thing with racing. Like, coming back, I was trying to start a team that was going to be different, and unfortunately, like, it didn't work out for whatever reasons. But I think up until now, like, I was still trying to figure out how to race. And now, like, I'm happy, my kids are happy, like, I'm comfortable to say, like, I'm done with that part. Like, I want to move on. And so, like, that's why I'm talking. Like, now it's, I 100% know what I want to do in life, as far as I don't want to do that anymore. And how I've always been this way in my career. Like, if I don't know what I'm gonna say, or I have kind of doubts about it, like, I'm not gonna say anything, because I don't want to have to take it back. And so this has been one of those things that the time is now, and here we are. Yeah, so I guess this is a part where this kind of whole interview has been leading up to, in the sense of why I'm talking now, and where I go back to the point where now I know what I want to do in life. And now we get to the end, or the beginning, in a sense. I mean, you guys see me, like, I'm a little fat, but I'm happy, sweating like I'm about to take a science test or something, like, right now. That's the Cheetos or whatever, like what I just ate. If I had to go downstairs and eat some chicken wings right now, I can do that. But in all seriousness, like, at some point, and especially for me, it just came. At some point, I don't want to have to be perfect anymore. Like, I did a lot of things, and more than what I ever thought I would do in racing. I met and traveled and been across the world, something I had never dreamed about. A kid in Haines City, Winter Haven, growing up not understanding why people treat me different for doing the same thing that this guy does. Like, all those things have helped and made me who I am today as a person, and it's gonna make me live the rest of my life better, is to help me raise my son. But all those things that got me to the point where I'm tired, and I'm tired of having to worry about what other people think, and having to wake up and train and wake up and worry about how I'm gonna say this, and worry about anything else besides what I'm gonna eat, because that's important at this point. What is my son doing, and which golf course am I gonna play? Like, besides those 3 things, I do not want to worry about anything else. So, but that's why I've done the last 30 something years of my life, sweating and tears and riding motorcycles, and it's been a blessing. But now the days come to where, like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. So this whole thing and where I'm at in my life, like, I think it's time to say, like, I'm retired. And it's hard, for sure. It's hard because I love racing, and I love I love the fans. I love the opening ceremonies. I love people cheering for me. I love the autograph lines. But I don't miss the sweat and tears of training and having to feel like you got to win every race, and having to be James Stewart. Like, I don't love doing that anymore because I have a son and I have kids, and that's my responsibility now. So as life goes on and we move on, I done found my purpose in life, and that's to raise my kids. And right now, like, that's what I'm gonna do. So as far as me and racing, like, you'll see me out there. Like, I'll be around, and I'll be around more now than I have been in the last few years, because it's been a decision that's been really hard for me to make because I wasn't sure, but now I'm 100% sure, and it's time. So there you got it.